morning. This is Anna Patterson with the North Carolina Housing Coalition. Thank you for joining us this morning for our housing call. And without further ado, I will turn it over to our Director of Housing Policy, Stephanie Watkins-Cruz.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you all are having a great day so far. I'm going to go ahead and kick it off with some organizational updates. Many of you already know and saw that last week we released our 2025 county profiles. Just for a reminder for folks that have not used these before, our county profiles are designed to be an accessible tool for people to learn and communicate about the housing need in their communities. And we want people to be able to do this for a wide variety of audiences. So if you go to our website, you'll be able to see all 100 county profiles as well as the state profile for the state of North Carolina. Just here are a few data highlights from our profiles this year. We actually added 2 new features this year based on feedback from different folks across the state. We have a new visual, a chart that compares each county's homeowner and renter cost burdens alongside the homeowner and renter cost burdens. We also have marked the counties that were impacted by Hurricane Helene. The data in these disaster-designated counties, just for an additional note, make sure you remember that this may not fully represent the post-storm housing conditions and the housing need in these counties. The housing need is likely much greater post-Helene. The housing wage is another key data point in our county profiles. And this year, the lowest housing wage in the state is $17.88 an hour, which is 2.5 times the minimum wage. The housing wage is the hourly wage that you need to earn in order to afford a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment at fair market rent. So with the lowest housing wage being $17.88, this means that no one earning minimum wage working full-time at only one job can afford a 1 or 2 bedroom fair market rent apartment in North Carolina. Housing wages across the state, across our state of North Carolina, are up to 5 times higher than the minimum wage. And so we know that in no county could someone earning minimum wage afford a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment at fair market rent. And in 12 of our counties, the housing wage is actually over $30. There are 58 counties, of which those 12 are a part of, where the county's housing wage is over $20 an hour. And when we look at the rate of eviction filings, there were almost 200,000 evictions filed in North Carolina this year, and a little over 11,400 foreclosures. When we look at the rate and we look at the top 3, that means we found that Edgecombe County, Nash County, and Mecklenburg County were the top 3 in terms of eviction filings. And we did this by comparing the rate of eviction filings to the total number of renter households. And so even though these counties are in the top 3, this also could mean that they have a high ratio of renter households in their communities that faced eviction. I want to thank everyone that is reaching out and asking questions and using our county profiles. We will be continuing to release additional tools and things that will help you use the data in any way that you would like to as you have conversations with community members and elected officials. Moving on to federal updates. So last week, Scott Turner, the new Secretary of the Department of Housing and Urban Development, had a hearing confirming his position. And this provided a glimpse of his housing agenda and priorities. When asked about the Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Program and funding for housing and homelessness programs, there were not a lot of clear answers. Turner did signal support in the hearing, though, for several harmful housing policies like tying work requirements to HUD assistance and refused to commit to protecting federal homelessness and housing programs from significant spending cuts. In a statement made after the hearing, the National Low-Income Housing Interim President, Renee Willis, said that she anticipates many of the counterproductive policies that were pursued during the first Trump administration will likely be proposed again. Also, in terms of federal updates, there are a few HUD funding awards given across North Carolina recently. City of Raleigh received $14.2 million for their Section 108 loan pool project. In Silva, $10.3 million was awarded for a Section 202 supportive housing for the elderly program in the Givens-Webster Village. And then $44 million was awarded for North Carolina. This is part of annual funding already for the Continuum of Care program. Moving on to state and local updates. The nonprofit Beloved Asheville recently purchased 9 acres outside the flood zone in Swannanoa, and this is a community that was heavily impacted by Helene's flooding in western North Carolina. The purchase was made possible by community contributions, and Beloved plans to build at least 15 homes on the property for households earning between 15 to 50% of the area median income, and they hope to have the homes built by the end of the year. The City of Charlotte's naturally occurring affordable housing acquisition, rehabilitation, and subsidy RFP program recently assisted with the acquisition of Shelton Knoll Apartments. The city's NOAA RFP program, so naturally occurring affordable housing request for proposal, helps provide financing to developers who agree to preserve existing rental housing that is otherwise at risk of being converted into market rate units. Late last fall, the City Council unanimously approved a $1.1 million housing trust fund allocation to the buyer, Ascent Homes, and in return, the buyer agreed to a 20-year deed restriction that is going to ensure that 45 units remain affordable for households earning between 30 and 80% of the area median income. In the Outer Banks, Dare County Board of Commissioners is in conversation with a developer about purchasing his 10-acre property so that they can stop a cluster home development from being built. Back in 2018, the county passed a cluster home development ordinance that allowed for more than one single-family home on a lot in particular areas of the county, with this idea that this type of housing would promote affordability through smaller lot sizes and shared open space. The county approved the permit for development in 2023 out of legal obligation to do so despite resident pushback. And in response to local residents upset with the cluster development, they later removed the ordinance in 22 of the 36 areas that they originally zoned for cluster housing, but acknowledged that it was too late to do anything about this particular development. Now that the developer has begun clearing land, commissioners are considered buying the property to appease residents who do not want to have cluster homes. And if the developer does not agree to the sale, it's actually been quite a controversial conversation. Commissioners have said they will consider using condemnation to acquire the property. Moving on to events, there are several that we'll lift up. Tomorrow at 1 p.m., the Turner Center for Housing Innovation at UC Berkeley will be having a webinar talking about states as laboratories, early lessons from pro-housing designation programs. And on January 29th from 1 to 2:15 p.m., Enterprise Community Partners will be having a webinar titled Housing as a Pathway to Justice, Introducing Our National Toolkit. If you are interested in land use and planning, there's a networking event in Belmont, the Charlotte Area Planning Group Meetup by the North Carolina chapter of the American Planning Association on January 30th is having a networking event from 6 to 8 p.m. at Primal Brewing in Belmont. And also just to lift up, on February 1st, the Disaster Legal Services Free Legal Clinic is returning to the Henderson County Disaster Recovery Center, which is in Hendersonville, on Saturday, February 1st, and it's going to help individuals navigate disaster-related legal issues. Volunteer attorneys from the North Carolina Bar Association, Disaster Legal Services, and PISCA Legal Services will be on hand to assist with issues and questions, including FEMA claims and appeals and landlord-tenant matters. There will be appointments available from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., and then walk-ins are welcome. Make sure if you are interested in scheduling an appointment, you check out the link in the call notes. That's all we have for you all today. Make sure you check out the additional reports and resources that we have linked for you in the call notes. And as always, if you'd like to hear someone in particular join us on the housing call or would like us to dive into a topic a little bit deeper, please don't hesitate to reach out. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you next time.